having no friends. A skill I have true expertise in. I am 21 years old and I have no friends. Seems unbelievable, but it really is. You, a 21-year-old grown man with no social circle. Yeah, it's kind of pathetic, but it's okay though. Now, as we age and move through the different stages of life, I think it's natural for you and your old friends to grow apart. But having no friends for a long time or never having friends is a problem. That's unless if you like your own company, which is fine as well. But for me personally, having no friends kind of sucks. Like imagine going to school with having no one by your side. No one sits next to you on the school bus, and if someone does sit next to you, both of you don't even say a thing to each other. You don't have anyone to talk to in class. You have a grand total of 0 people to play with during recess or lunch, and you have no one to hang out with after school. And it's not just school, the same applies to work as well. For some reason, you just can't develop friendships with your colleagues. You only speak to your colleagues about work-related things. They never contact you after work and you don't contact them. Or you probably move cross-country or move to a different city, so you had no choice but to leave your friends behind. Or you probably cut some friends off because really they were not truly your friends. Like there's so many reasons why you may have no friends. So you basically live life alone with no social circle. This is basically me in a nutshell. I go through the motions of life alone with no friends. And yes, of course, there are people that I know and that I'm cool with, but that don't mean they are my friends. People who you know and friends are two different things. We need to establish the definition of a friend. And in this case, we will use our trusted friend Google here. The Google definition of a friend is a person with whom one has a bond of mutual affection, typically one exclusive of sexual or family relations. Google, you didn't help here. I said I wanted the meaning of a friend, not the meaning of friends with benefits. Okay, I can't lie, I went too far on that one. Maybe that's why I have no friends, because I always say the dumbest things unprovoked. I digress. For me, I would say that a friend is someone that you can trust and really be comfortable being yourself around with. A friend is someone you have things in common with, and even if you guys are polar opposites, you still are interested in each other and enjoy each other's company. A friend is someone that supports you and does not make the friendship about their own needs. A friend is someone you can share deep personal things with. A friend is someone that inspires you to head to the right direction. A friend is someone who does not switch up on you in certain situations. And yes, even when the girls are around, a friend is someone who's proud of you as their friend and does not have jealousy in their heart. In my eyes, that's what a friend is. And I'm also well aware that if you want to attract those type of friends, you also have to be willing to be a true friend to them as well. It's a mutual effort. So just because you know a lot of people don't mean that they are your friends. They are just your school buddies or your work colleagues. You know them just based on circumstantial coincidence alone. Just because you guys talk to each other doesn't mean that they are your friend. In order for you to truly be friends with them, you have to meet the criteria above. And for me, I was definitely cool with a lot of people, but they were never truly my friends. And when I did make friends, we just grew apart. And I won't sit here and blame them. It was definitely a me problem. Throughout my life, I attended 6 schools and I haven't retained any friends. And you might ask, why is that the case? Well, to put it simply, I am an introvert. I am typically reserved in most situations and I tend to spend time alone. Plus, I am diagnosed autistic, so that probably played a factor of my ability to make friends. I still wanted to make friends, so I tried, but to no avail. When I look back at the time when I was in school, yeah, I definitely struggled making friends. The people I wanted to make friends with never took me seriously and just laughed at me or didn't listen to me properly. At the time, I didn't know why, and it really bothered me. The people that I wanted to be friends with used me as a laughing stock with their own friends. When I try to speak to people and get to know them better, they always reply with dry answers like, "Oh, I be chillin'," or "Yeah, bruh, I'm straight," and then they say nothing. And when I try to be more personal by giving my experience with anything, they'd be like, "Really? Oh, hell no, that's crazy, bruh. Like, what are you supposed to say to that?" And they will look in other directions, cut you off, wouldn't listen, and even worse, make excuses to why they can't talk to you. They were painfully aloof with me. And this happened all the time with every person that I spoke with at school, college, or work. They couldn't get along with me, but they got along with others a lot more than I ever did with them. So when that happens, I tend to question me and my character. What's going on? Is it because I'm boring? Like, why can't I not fit in? Yeah, in elementary school, high school, and college, I always wanted to fit in with the popular kids. I wanted to be like them because they always had friends. So my dumbass thought, if I be like them, then people can take me more seriously and I can actually start making friends. And no surprise, that strategy never worked. Trying to be someone you're not is a bad idea and it will never work. It comes off as weird, like you're trying to be cool. It's not authentic to who you actually are and what you believe in. So you have to stay true to who you are as a person and live your own truth. Sorry I went off that motivational tangent there. So I'll quit that corny ass shit and actually start being myself around people. And what I mean by that is that I made it known that I like unconventional nerdy things like anime and cartoons and video games like Super Smash Bros or Sonic. And to my surprise, it actually worked. I actually started making friends. This doesn't explain how I actually made those friends, so let me answer that. There was this one guy that I knew that was in the same special ed class as me in high school. He was also in the same year as me. We sat next to each other in most of the classes because we required an extra teacher to support us during our lessons. And I remember asking him during breaks what he likes to do in his free time. And he said that he loves watching the WWE. And me knowing that I loved the WWE as a kid as well, I knew that was a common interest that we could click on. So I expanded on his WWE interest by asking who is his favorite WWE superstar, what was his favorite WWE event, and more. He likes The Undertaker and John Cena. I'm a big fan of Roman Reigns, I can't even lie. That guy is the real tribal chief, man. We just clicked on that one topic and before you know it, we ended up becoming friends. He was a cool friend for the most part, but he over-obsessed with the WWE to the point that he will make his own storylines of WWE characters and reenact them in real time. And he always brought so many Undertaker's figures to school. Like, this man was never ashamed by his interest. He didn't care about what other people thought of him, which I respected a lot. We were good friends. We hung out with each other during school and even after school. We went on motors together, played my favorite games together, and would always had each other's back. When kids were trying to make fun of him in school, I would always defend him because that's my boy, man. If you're gonna mess with him, you will have to go through me first. That was so corny, bruh. We would always be vulnerable with each other and always uplift each other with our goals. And of course, we did push each other to pull the baddest girls in our year, bruh. Even though we didn't pull a single one. A true friendship until it never lasted. It only lasted 3 years. When we both finished school, we fell off with each other and we didn't speak again. Not because we hated each other, as I was very cool with him. We just went our separate ways. He went to university and I just did my own thing, innit? I'm not gonna say too much. Years later, I even tried checking up on him, but to no avail. I'm assuming that he already made new friends already. And that hurt, because that guy was my only true friend. We were so close until our friendship just faded into thin air. And making new friends as an adult is significantly harder because everyone is busy dealing with their own problems and goals. Plus they built a foundation of friends already, so they're not really keen on adding new people into the mix. So I just ended up being by myself now. The only times where I actually socialize is when I go to the gym or go to church. But at the end of the day, the reality is that they are my friends at the gym and they're only my friends when I see them at church. We aren't actually close. It really is just me for myself. And how do I feel about that? I think it's a-okay. Because as a natural introvert, I think I've quickly adapted to basically having no friends. I have made myself my friend. I genuinely enjoy my own company. I am the most myself when I speak to myself. And y'all might say, this brother just coping so hard. But trust me, I'm good. I am definitely not that socially awkward and anxious person I used to be when I was a kid. I can definitely be friendly with people that I meet. And I usually get positive feedback from people's first impressions of me. So I would say I'm definitely improved on that. However, I definitely have a social meter. I can be really social, but as time goes on, I just want to be by myself. So I see myself avoiding social functions very quickly. Like I said, I enjoy my own company. Being by myself allows me to really reflect properly. It allows me to observe and boost my creativity. I've learned a lot about myself being alone, and I am the most happy with solitude. No one can betray you, no one can bother you. It's just peace and quiet. What a life to live. Yeah, this is Cope. Join the Patreon or channel membership for early access to all my videos, access to blocked videos that I'll never share publicly, and uncensored content that's too explicit for YouTube. I'm out. Cheers.